Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We are hopeful you are watching this as a Patreon patron. If you are, thank you very much. If you're doing that, or if you're not doing that, you can still subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can do it that way, and we can get paid. And if you're doing neither of those two things, then please try to remember, well, even if you are doing those two things, please try to remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. If you do that, you are sticking it to Amazon. They pay. They don't get any money from you. You're already paying for that. So it's free for you. You stick it to Amazon. They actually have to cut into their billions and billions and billions of profits so Shane can afford macaroni and cheese out of the box. So please link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Kookanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
Let's move on to today's question from Patreon from Neo JD. Xbox hardware sales just dropped another 42%, and things are looking very bleak for Xbox Series consoles. Microsoft has already announced it's launching another console, but will it reconsider if sales continue to flatline? Should it reconsider? What, if anything, can it do to improve its hardware sales? How difficult would it be for Xbox to pivot back to selling its exclusive games? I think Microsoft's already made the decision that they're just going to sell, 20 million consoles this cycle, or 25 or whatever when it's over, and they're happy with that. And the reason is that they made a decision, I think, when they launched the Xbox Series, that they were going to lean all in on Game Pass. And so they are indifferent if you buy a console, which they don't make any money on anyway, and then buy games, or if you pay them by becoming a Game Pass subscriber. What they've been stupid about is raising the price of Game Pass. They should have kept it low and hooked as many people as they could. But I think the big move for them is moving off console, which they've done on PC and they've done with their Fire TV and Samsung partnerships. I think what's coming is partnerships with Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, any other streaming device. And ultimately, I think they just don't care how you consume entertainment. It's sort of like asking, do movie studios need you to see the movie in a theater, or are they pissed that you waited for it to come on DVD or pay-per-view or VOD, or that you waited longer for it to come on streaming? And the answer is they're not pissed about anything, because it all adds up to more for them. They get paid more. So would they rather you buy it in the highest price window? Yes. But as long as more people spend the money in the long run, Microsoft's happy. And so the answer is that Microsoft's given up on the console, trying to win. They don't need to win. They need to win by being more profitable. And I'd say that the crossover point is 100 million Game Pass subscribers. When they get there, they're ahead of Sony forever. And way above 100 million, they're way ahead. So that's where they're headed. They're making a bet, and they might not get there. And Game Pass might not have enough content to justify a $20 price, and they might lose. But that's kind of the bet Netflix made all the way up. And look at them, 270 million. So I don't know what the final point is where Microsoft stops making consoles. Should they not introduce a new box? The new box is designed to force game downloads, which are more profitable for them. They're trying to do that so that you don't buy GameStop. GameStop hasn't quite yet figured out that physical media is going away. I don't think there's another generation of consoles with physical media. I think everything goes digital because it's more profitable for the console manufacturer if they do that. But what they're really doing with their new box is trying to design in features that allow you to subscribe to Game Pass that cost them less per box, so they make more money on the hardware. And they're really just trying to replace the expensive old hardware with less expensive new hardware and sell you a bright, shiny object if you want it. Now, will there always be consoles for people who want them? Yes. There'll always be movie theaters. People want to go see a movie there. It's just that there's fewer things that you actually need a console for. And the vast majority of consumers, how many people own a console? 200 million, 300 million? It's not a billion. So 300 million out of 7 or 8 billion people. There's 7 or 8 billion people who aren't playing console games who could be. And, not that they're all going to, but even think 3.5 billion mobile gamers. How many people play on console? 600 million, 2 per household? I'll go with that. 600 million. I think there's a lot of money to be made by selling single player games to hundreds of millions of people. Think about the cell phone model, because back when I first got a cell phone, and I'm talking 1990, 91, it was $150 a month, and I had 60 minutes of talk time. That was it per month. And now I pay $140 for 4 phones, unlimited talk, text, long distance, and data, unlimited everything. So the point is that's what Game Pass is going to be. So that's what Microsoft's thinking about. Can we get a $5 subscription with some ads and get 500 million people to pay us? I think they can. Could Nintendo do that? I think they could. But, I think that's the future. So I would not get fixated on the old model of, you have to sell a console and buy a console game. There will be consoles and there will be console games in the future, but the vast majority of gameplay is going to shift to free-to-play into the subscription model. So I think that's what Microsoft's looking at, expanding the market, and I think they're going to succeed. And when they do, maybe some of those hundreds of millions of people will buy a PlayStation and discover PlayStation games. Like, that's the goal, that you just create new consumers for your content. And ultimately, I actually think that Microsoft should, turn Game Pass into a platform and put Candy Crush on there, which is free. You don't need to subscribe to play Candy Crush. So have a Game Pass Lite that lets you play Candy Crush on your TV, without paying anything for it. Just kind of hook people, and then show them if they upgrade to $5 a month with ads, they'll get some Game Pass games. And if they pay $10 a month with no ads, they'll get all the Game Pass games. That's the future. I really think that's the way to do it. I think that as long as they look at a Xbox Series as a gateway to Game Pass, and it gets people to play games, and you can talk about how much fun you're having playing the game, it gets more people to want to play it. You're going to get, you're going to get a bigger audience. So think about all the people who play Call of Duty Mobile and even Call of Duty Warzone, 100 million people. There aren't that many people who play Call of Duty on console. So maybe there were 50 million to play Call of Duty on console. You got an extra 50 million to play the mobile game because they'd heard Call of Duty and they play it, So I think that Microsoft looks at the console experience as the thought leaders who are going to sell the masses on why they want to play games. And I think, the console experience is what creates, not just console, the hardcore experience is what creates Twitch channels and TikTok videos and Reddit forums. And then the casual guy can come in and say, oh, I want some of that, because it's free or it's cheap. The real trick is making it free or cheap. That when you make something available and inexpensive, people are more likely to adopt it. True story, like the first time I ever had sushi, I was 30 because it wasn't widely available. There were not Japanese restaurants were like hibachi, or like Teppan Grill. If you wanted sushi, you had to go to a dedicated sushi restaurant, and until I was 30, they weren't around. And I'm a big sushi eater. My kids had sushi for the first time when they first got teeth. So they were like 2. And my kids eat sushi 4 times a week. So, it's just different. You make something accessible and inexpensive in sushi now. Every block has a sushi joint that's cheap. Then people like it. And they sell at the grocery store now. I actually remember, what was this stuff called? I remember having a recipe, again, back when I was about 30, and it called for prosciutto. And I went to my local supermarket, like a Ralph's or a Vaughn's or something, and I went up to the butcher counter and I go, do you have prosciutto? And the butcher goes, what's prosciutto, because it didn't used to be carried. And now they have ready-to-eat prosciutto rolled with, provolone, like it's everywhere. So, just make it available and people will find it and they will like it. And I think that's really where Microsoft's going. Yeah, I think this is like they've jumped off a cliff. How easy will it be for them in midair to switch their direction? I think they've already taken the plunge. So difficult politically, internally, not possible. They couldn't sell it. They've committed suicide if it fails, and they'll be forever in glory if they succeed. If Game Pass, I don't think Game Pass can fail. If Game Pass fails, and you're not going to know that for 10 more years, Microsoft might pull out of video games. I mean, they won't because they have all these assets, but they'll spin it off. It'll be a separate company. They'll spin it off as Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, or something, ABB. They'll come up with a new name for it and let it run as a publisher. But honestly, they're in the free-to-play business too, with Call of Duty Mobile and Diablo Immortal and Candy Crush and a million other games. I mean, that'll just become a bigger piece of the business, and they won't worry about Game Pass anymore. So they'll probably stay in the free-to-play Minecraft business and not worry about Game Pass if Game Pass fails. But no, I don't think they come back to console games exclusive like that. Thank you for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We are especially thankful if you're either a Patreon patron and or a YouTube subscriber. That's great. If you are doing those things, or if you're not, try to remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There's instructions in the show description. And we get paid by Amazon. You pay nothing. You are sticking it to them. Do it. It's worth it. Don't be weird. Be sticking it to Amazon. It's one of those really cool things that Amazon does for their subscribers, for their Prime subscribers. And since you're already paying them, take advantage. It's a freebie for you. It gets Shane paid. So appreciate that. Follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. We'll see you next time.